Hi, I'm Lana,
And I'm Sherri.
and this is Real Estate Tips with S&M. Today, Sherri, I'm excited for this guest. Can you introduce her for us?
Absolutely. My pleasure to introduce Deb Peralt from Fieldstone Design.
Yes,
Thank you
welcome.
for coming.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, you
Yay.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell us, what is Fieldstone Design?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Fieldstone Design is a design company that I started about 20 years ago. I had been working in the landscape architecture field for years, full-time job. I had little kids, and the recession hit. And I said, you know what? I want to be home with my kids. I don't want to be paying for daycare. I want flexible hours. I need to figure out something where I can really dig in and do something better for me and my family. So I started Fieldstone Design. I quickly built up plenty of projects to kind of keep me going and roll me forward, and I had a great flexibility and was able to actually get to know Sherri that way through lots of mom play dates with the Leominster Moms Club back in the day. So I started out as a landscape architecture design company.
Because you had the background education for it?
I do. I went to college, so I have a Bachelor of Science in landscape architecture. So swimming pools, pool houses, walkways, patios, retaining walls, you name it, anything
You were
outside.
involved with Doyle Field, right? That
was.
In
project
Leominster.
when they put the new bowl in for the football.
I sure did.
yeah.
I did all the grading plans and the paving design plans for that. So yeah, that was a great project that I worked on. I did that with the company that I was working on in Fitchburg at the time. And then actually since then, I've also done more public projects in the area. I've also worked with the Doyle Park, the Doyle Field, or the Doyle Conservation Area, rather.
Yeah.
I worked and did all the recreation trails that go through the woods with them. So.
And I'm in there all the time, so that's awesome.
Yeah, me
You're
too.
going to look at
walking
it
the dog.
different now. When
I
you're
am.
there, you're going to
Yeah.
say, Deb was here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well,
so those were great.
I knew you did your area, right? Your pool area?
So yes, and I'll share a little bit on that my backyard is, or was a hill. It just went straight down. Even to put like a little, folding chair, you were leaning forward and going to roll down the hill. It was pretty bad. So we wanted to put a pool in. We brought in some fill, but I had different levels. I had, my deck was up here. Then it came down to a certain level, and then my basement door was down there, and it was just such a weird layout. I could not visually grasp what this was going to be. And I have great vision, but when it came to the backyard, I was lost. And I ended up calling Deb, save me. And she's out there taking all these measurements. She brought one of her great assistants, one of her kids was there helping her out, and then put together this, she gave me multiple designs, so that I could pick the one that I liked. And then we even tweaked it a little bit from there.
Exactly.
But my backyard, I owe it all basically to you, and even right down to the plants that we would put in, the different flowers and bushes and whatever else, and you did a lot.
Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, so that is definitely my roots, is landscape architecture. And about maybe 5 or 10 years into my business, I had a lot of my clients coming to me and actually asking for help on the inside because they enjoyed working with me on the outside. And at that time, I had actually just started dabbling in some design work and working at a kitchen design showroom in Leominster, and had gotten kind of my feet on the ground for those, and it was working out really well. So I did start to then put kitchen and bath into my umbrella of Fieldstone Design, and that's been a lot of fun because I've had so many repeat clients who I started out with landscape clients, and now I've done kitchens, baths, master bedroom closets, finished basements, attic spaces, you name it, we can do it in the house. So I tell everybody that now my business is very much anything from the drywall in and the exterior siding out of your house, which is great because you really want the inside and the outside of your house to kind of flow together. So it's a really nice marriage between the two designs.
Talk about, working with people that want a lifestyle change, because one of my key things that I speak to about anyone that's looking to buy, or if they're selling and they're moving on, I talk about their lifestyle. Like, what are you looking for, and where are you going? And sometimes when we look at the house, we're like, the landscape in the back, like there's no lawn. And they say there's no lawn, but there's probably a full-fledged lawn. But they're thinking, oh, it's going to cost so much and stuff. So when you were starting out with her backyard, which she had no vision, right? You were saying, I didn't know how to fix it. What's one of the first steps that a client would say, like, come rescue me, or what's some of the things that as the step that won't
might
be
have been my words.
I think that actually was. No, Sherri's was, I think I have the pool company showing up in a week and a half, and I don't really know what I feel about it. I need help. Please come.
Oh my God.
Rework. So we completely reworked where the pool was going, what elevation it was going, and how everything worked around it in a week and a half.
Right. The person that had initially been recommended to me was not a good match. I just felt like I was trying to understand it more, and that person had a vision of their own and wasn't willing to hear me. Yeah. And I think I was in tears. I was just like, Deb, you gotta help me. And I don't think I realized, the how extensive, this project is. When I saw you out there taking those measurements and, what was involved with that, I was really, really blown away. I've known you a long time, but you've always been the triplets mom, so knowing you from play dates and the little kids and all of that to seeing you as a professional, all the respect to you, I mean, because you're definitely juggling a lot, and, both professionally and personally, and you pull it off, and you always make it look easy.
It's fun. I say, you know what? If you love what you do, you're not working. And I love what I do. I work on the weekends. I work nights. I answer my phone whenever somebody calls. I'm very easily accessible, very easy to work with. And I don't feel like I'm working. She could be a
realtor if she's doing all that.
She's basically working with us.
I am happy in my zone right now. I am where I need to be.
So bring me back to that question I was asking. Sure. Bring me back to, like, what is somebody when they reach out and they're panicked? They're not going to, I'm going to say for me, if I needed some help, which I do, I'm afraid to call someone as an architect, designer, because I'm thinking in my head, all right, I got to pay for them to come. I got to pay for this, and I'm going to pay for that, and it's going to take me probably a year by the time I organize it. I don't know how to answer their question when they say, "Well, what do you like?" I'm like, I don't know what I don't like because I don't know.
You haven't seen it yet,
right?
So I always give 3 options, at least 3 options. To be honest with you, I don't stop designing it until all the thoughts are out of my head. So I may say I'm going to give you a minimum of 3 designs. I might come back and give you 5 or 6. Honestly, if the wheels are still turning, I'm going to keep designing until it's done. And I give you one price for that design fee. So whether I do 3 or I do 7, it's the same price. Yep. And I'm not going to stop designing until you're happy with it either. So it's never going to be you chose the more expensive option. There is no more expensive option. Right. It is just I'm designing and working on it.
Nice.
So those 3 options or more, one is usually pretty bare bones, the least amount of work necessary. Maybe we're not taking down an interior wall. Maybe we're not building a big, beautiful pool house in your backyard. And then number 2 takes it another step further. And then 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, those are the wow factors. Those are the, I'm going to be here forever. This is not just a place that I'm selling in 5 or 10 years. I really want it to work for me. I want it to grow with me. And what's good about working with a designer early on is when you're making that initial investment, maybe you're putting in a new bathroom. Maybe you are planning on aging in place. Let's make your bathroom door wider now so that you can get a wheelchair in there someday if you need it. If you have parents coming to visit you, if your elderly parents want to come and visit you, let's plan on that now so that we can make sure that they're fit in. And you're not realizing down the line, shoot, we can't get into the bathroom. So I'm happy to ask all those questions up front. Do you expect to be here in the long term? Do you expect to have aging parents here with you at all?
Right.
And let's make it work for you now.
To add to that, where you're talking about, you've got the cost of hiring Deb to come in just to help you with the design.
Yep.
And then you've got the cost of the project. So there are 2 separate things. And like what Deb just described, giving you different ideas on the project depending on your budget and where you want to land. But I would say that the cost of not using a designer and then ending up with something that isn't what you actually wanted is going to far exceed what it would have been if you had gone this step in the first place.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, there's some things in our house, exterior and interior, that I have found that just hiring the specific person for what that was great. So they just reach out to you. You come in, give the design, which I love. You give options because usually you just get one idea, right? So it's like, and you're like, well, whatever. And you do like color schemes. You do designing. You do all of that.
It's all 3D perspectives.
Oh my goodness!
So floor plans, 3D perspectives. Ultimately, after you go through those options, you pick and choose and mix and match between all of them. Or if you have a new idea, or you saw something on Pinterest or on House or something, you're like, actually, how about this? I'll work that into a final plan for you. And then that final plan, I'll give you all, if you're doing a kitchen, I'll give you all your cabinet elevations, your dimensions and everything. I can also sell you cabinets and countertops, tile, plumbing, whatever you want for that. Or you can take my plans and go shop them around. I really don't care. I have very competitive rates and I don't mind sharing the business with anybody else. If you want to work with somebody, great. If you need recommendations, I have some really good, trusted electricians, plumbers, contractors that I've had into my house and that I have no problems having going to a client's house.
Right.
So therefore, not only are you getting my design services, you're possibly also getting materials you can trust and I'm going to back them up for you, as well as trusted professionals who are going to come in and do the job right for you.
What's your favorite design project?
Yeah.
What room?
Yeah. Or outside,
Or-
whatever.
I do love kitchens. What's fun about kitchens is they all have their own personality. I tell everybody that being a designer is very much like being a baker. You kind of make that good, solid cake. And then how you frost it is very much up to the clients. So I'm going to give you that solid design and make sure everything is functional and working for you. And then I'm going to either feel it when I walk into your house and see what your design aesthetic is, and I'm going to match that, or I'm going to offer up some suggestions, or maybe you've just seen some pretty pictures, and I'm going to share that, and I'm going to frost that kitchen however you want it done. And I love doing kitchens because they truly are the heart of the home. It's a place where everybody's gathering.
She's going to walk into my house and she's going to be like, what is that kitchen still there for?
I'm working on a kitchen right now, actually, that hasn't been touched in probably 45 years, and they want to reuse a lot of their doors and their drawers that are already, their faces that are there because it's an old knotty pine.
Yeah.
And they just love the rustic look, and it's an old house. It was a house that was built to look old. It's beautiful. So that's a bit of a puzzle, but that's another project that I don't even mind taking on because
It's actually cool.
yeah, so all those cabinets I'm going to refer to a custom cabinet builder to build them so that he can actually work with those new refinished doors and drawers. New cabinets and doors that need to be made for new cabinets, he'll just match the existing design. But we're taking a tiny little U-shaped kitchen that they've been living with for 40 years and blowing it up and giving them a big island and big, L-shaped kitchen now. And minimal effort, yeah.
I need her. I really do.
Yep, no project too big.
Is it you, like hands-on? Or, I mean, I know when you do, so let me use an example. Let me go back outside. Is it you digging and doing that? Or is it you have a group just like you do inside, the electricians, plumbers, and all that?
Exactly. I can refer you. I can refer you to some contractors.
Got it.
Yep, to the
But outside
work.
too?
Yep, everybody. Yep.
Oh, so you're the one that's kind of the designer, but
Exactly.
you don't go, you weren't the one planting the plants.
No, I'll tell Sherri where to put her flowers, but she's
Yes.
going to put her flowers herself, or she's going to hire someone to come and plant
And
her
did you
flowers.
plant them yourself?
I have a husband. And he did an amazing job.
Yes, he did.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So what I like about it is, I'm always so afraid. I'm going to go back to my fears. I'm always so afraid when I hire somebody. It's like, you just get what you get, but you can give alternatives, or you're going to be part of it, right?
Exactly.
So you're going to be doing some stuff.
Yeah.
When people come up with some ideas, like if there's like this color or this idea, are you going to say like, that is not going to work? Are you going to say that? Because will you be honest?
I will give people an opinion, but I'll also understand why you want that. If it's a favorite color and you're the only one living there and you're going to be there for the next 20 years, I'm not going to tell you not to paint your house your favorite color.
True.
But I'm going to tell you resale value may not be there.
True.
I'm going to tell you different times of the day you're going to feel like you're living in a black hole. It may not be what you want to do. But then I might also suggest the right ways to light it so that at night you don't feel like you're in a black hole.
So what's the color of the year?
Yeah. What is the color?
White is still hot, but people are people are now softening it up. Kind of more of an off-white, lots of wood tones, like the oak look. Maybe do an oak island, white perimeter, or all oak bases, an island, and white wall cabinets, and a splash of oak on your hood over your stove.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
What is the flooring? Like, what are people doing for flooring?
Most people are doing either luxury vinyl planks or they're doing hardwoods. Yeah,
Okay.
there's very little people putting tile in their kitchens now.
Yeah.
Keep the tile in the bathrooms.
Is it quartz or granite, or is it still what
It's probably 95%, maybe 90% quartz, 10% granite, zero chlorine. I had somebody ask me about chlorine the other day, and I said, I honestly haven't put chlorine in a kitchen in 15 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, quartz is beautiful. Quartz is man-made. It's got a nice consistency to it. It's beautiful. It's durable.
Quartz is nice too because, if you're looking for that, almost sterile look with the white cabinets and the white countertop, whereas granite's going to have the specks in it. And so it's going to give you a different look. We've seen in the new construction, now the trend is switching from tile backsplash to a granite backsplash.
And
Are
quartz
you seeing
backsplash.
that too?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'd say probably 25% of the people will pop the backsplash, the quartz up onto their backsplash, and it's so nice not to have to clean all those grout lines.
Yes.
But what about wallpaper?
Wallpaper is hot right now too.
It's very hot. Like,
I've
I've seen
come
people
back
put
in.
wallpaper on the backsplash. It looks amazing. Or at least one wall in the kitchen.
Yep, accent walls.
And that is, I never even knew there was wallpaper. I'm like, oh, what's this? I thought it was like a paneling or something. It's not. It's wallpaper.
Yeah, no, I have some great wallpaper lines that I work with as well. So that's something too. I can bring samples of wallpapers as well, and paint colors and whatever else. So I'm not just going to help you with the kitchen and the bath. I can help you really kind of finish everything off as well.
What about wall colorings and things like that? Is it still kind of just neutral? Like everything's, is it more of a brownish? Is it a grayish? What is it? What's happening?
Grayish.
Grayish.
So the cool gray has gone away. It's definitely been warmed
Yeah.
up now with those grayish colors. Still maybe some, like a Wickham gray is a really pretty green cast gray.
Yes,
Blue
that's
cast gray.
beautiful.
So something that's got a little bit of color to it, but it's still soft and muted.
You're hired, okay? Like, I just needed to hear a couple of things, and I have so many projects. So many projects.
Perfect. I'm just down the road.
And it's not even that we have so many projects. I had a client that I helped purchase a house, and he wanted a yard for his family. And the yard was kind of tiered already, but he wanted to create it so it was usable. And I remember saying that you really need to talk to somebody that designs it, because if you just start clearing it and then you start cutting away, you might be bringing fill versus cutting away, or you might be using your side into it that you get much more.
Yep.
Now, I have no idea about architectural or any designing of any sort, but I think it would be a great avenue for people just to have the initial diagram even.
Yep.
Even if they're not quite ready to go the whole length, they can visual and slowly get to those steps, right?
Absolutely. I mean, even more so when I come in, like when I was running around the yard with my measuring tape, I'm giving you a whole as-built. So I'm measuring out exactly what your foundation is, because it's not necessarily built exactly the way that it was when you got your as-built done on your plans.
Right.
So I'm measuring out exactly what's in the backyard. I am making note of what those grade changes are, or inside the house, I'm drawing out where everything is. And that's what you need anyway to pull a building permit for most of these projects, is an as-built floor
as-built.
plan. So suddenly you have that blank plan. So even if you just have me come in and give you the blank plan, you can certainly sketch things up and work on it as well, or think a little bit more on it as well. But it's nice to get that true realistic plan as well.
I think it's also important to understand when you're talking about like your elevations in your yard, and anything can be changed. It's obviously there's money involved, but when I think back to my yard, I would not have ever pictured that I would have a flat backyard with a swimming pool, and and it did bring in fill, but I'll tell you what, bringing in the fill and doing what we did was a lot cheaper than putting up an enormous retaining a wall that went around it, and still having to deal with fill, and I no clue that this was going to look like that. And I just feel like sometimes people look at a backyard and they're like, oh, that's not going to work. And I'm like, honey, you have no idea,
Right. No, you can get a lot in there.
It can work. And maybe it doesn't work right away. Maybe it's something that you figure out later in life. Maybe you're starting your family and you don't really have the kids out playing in the yard yet. So you've got some time to build into that.
Yeah.
So,
yes, well, that's part of my job too, is as I was saying, I come back through all these different phases of people's lives. So I had a client in Gardner, actually, who I've started out with a landscape plan for their itty-bitty family.
Yes.
And then they called me 2 years later because they were having another baby and they needed more bedroom space and they wanted their bathroom done. And I did some custom cabinetry in the nursery. And then they had me come back out to do an entire build-out of their basement. And that had everything: the playroom, the gym, the storage, the workroom, the mudroom,
awesome.
everything. And they just bought a house in Bolton. So now I'm out there giving them a brand new basement in their Bolton house.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's so fun because I started working with them when they had a newborn,
Yeah.
and I think she's now going into 3rd grade.
That's awesome.
Or she's in
And
third
they
grade.
probably had a great resale on that house because of what
Right.
you did.
The things you did.
Absolutely. No,
So two
absolutely.
questions I have. One is, what is the either product, I'm going to share what my thought was, but what is the product or the job that is the least expensive that you would give as a recommendation to anyone owning a property right now to freshen up or keep it valued or what? The least amount of expense.
I think just trying to create a drop area from mudroom space, honestly, because let's face it, the moment you walk in your house, shoes and coats are flying off of those kids and they're getting strewn all over the house. Just having a place for that stuff at least keeps the rest of the house feeling a little
And the
bit
most
more
expensive?
open. Well, definitely blowing out some walls and expanding your kitchen or doing a swimming pool in your backyard.
I love it.
With a
But
kitchen.
but she didn't do the pool house, so she did that at a pool house,
Yeah.
so it could have
Yeah.
been worse for her.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we never did add that gazebo that we were talking about
Right.
that we perched on the hill. And
Yeah. All good.
had some crazy ideas, but
That's
you
okay.
do
What
you
has
can.
been the craziest idea that ever came up that you designed?
Ooh,
or
that's a good one.
Yeah, what is... and when I say crazy, I don't mean like it has to be expensive. I just mean like it was something different that you've never...
I'm not going to say crazy,
No.
but a very sweet lady bought a full kitchen showroom display from a local showroom, but had never known how it was going to fit into her kitchen.
Oh.
So that was another really fun puzzle. And actually, it came out beautiful. And it was another case of I had to strip out her kitchen and then really figure out how to work with the exact size cabinets and fixtures that she had, and then just add in as much as possible as needed to make it work. And it came out beautiful.
That's
Wow.
But it was definitely, it was a challenge.
You're like, you bought a showroom? You want me to
Bought it
put this
all?
together
Okay.
in your house?
We're going to make
Jigsaw.
this work. Exactly. And
Jigsaw.
it did. It looks like it was meant to be.
Are you by yourself in the company, or you're by yourself?
I am. Yeah, I actually do work full time as a kitchen and bath designer at a showroom in Acton. So that's the showroom that I'll use if clients want to come in and look at products. I'll bring you out there, and we can spend a Saturday or Sunday going through the showroom and looking at everything. But no, I do all of my work out of my house, so I have very limited overhead, which is really nice. So I always say, you don't get a huge design fee from me because I don't have a lot of overhead that I have to cover, which is great. So I'm happy
Yeah.
to pass that off to people.
One of those designs was redoing your own kitchen, and what an incredible transformation that
What?
was.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I had a great time doing my kitchen. Actually, I think one of my favorite projects was a job that you gave me, though, in Westminster.
With Eric.
And he asked me to come in and give him some ideas, and I'm not so sure he expected me to say, your kitchen shouldn't be in the back corner of your house. It should be up in the front of your house. And what a difference that made to that house, though.
That was my inspiration. That house was my inspiration when we built ours, because we wanted this big kitchen. So, I had, Josh, our builder, put the kitchen in what was supposed to be the family room, and we couldn't do it in the front of the house. It wasn't going to work with a design, but that was what I was initially trying to do. But I love, what we did, and I was trying to recreate that island that you did. It
was a big island.
Oh my gosh, I love that island. And
Yeah.
I mean, I love mine too, but your design was my inspiration. So-
Was that in a new
you.
construction house?
No, Eric was renovating a house for resale, a flip, and he had hired. Remember, we had Eric on the show.
Yeah, that Eric. I'm forgetting her.
And he had hired Deb separate from me. He found her online, and ended up having her do this. And I mean, if you'd seen the house before versus the house after, what a complete, amazing transformation.
It really was.
And then he hired her later to do his backyard pool at his own
And
home.
pool house. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that was a great
Oh,
project.
wow.
And actually, I've also helped him with his master bedroom and his primary bathroom.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So the job just keeps coming, which also speaks to you and the fact that you've got clients who have you coming back and doing more. And I mean, that's huge. A one and done is a different story. You're in there again,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's years later.
It is. It's so much fun. Yeah. No, I love it. I've 3, 4, 5, 6 projects is not uncommon for any of my clients.
I was going to say, how many do they come back for?
Yeah.
But the cool part is your reputation obviously speaks volumes because they keep calling you back.
Yeah. You know what? I'm easy to work with. I really am. I'm going to listen to what you want. I'm going to give you suggestions. Maybe I will recommend not doing something that you're suggesting, but I'm going to tell you why and then give you the choice that you can say, no, this is really what we want, and I'm going to give it to you. But I'm at least going to let you know why it may not be the best idea if I don't think something's a good idea.
I wish I talked to her before the carriage house was built.
Well, it's not too late. Closet designs.
Yes.
Now, this I think is not talking big money, and I think that it would make a big difference in people's ease of lifestyle is when you can be organizing your storage space, and redoing closets. I know a lot of people are buying kits and stuff, but those are pretty generic. You can get in there and do a specialized.
What do you do?
A custom.
So what is a custom other than the shelving or whatever you could buy?
Well, you can get drawers, you can get shelves, hanging rods, dividers. You can have glass-fronted drawers. You can have solid drawers. You can just have fabric pull-out drawers. There's a wide array of closets. And then a lot of people too will take space from one of the bedrooms. So say the kids are grown and gone. Maybe you're going to steal a foot or 2 or 3 feet from their bedroom. You're going to change what used to be a small closet possibly into a much bigger closet that you now have a lot more space for. So a lot of times with the design, you may say I want to re-look at my closet. You're going to wonder why I'm going into the next room and measuring, but it really is something as simple as just borrowing a few feet that doesn't make a difference to that room, but makes all the difference to you. So yeah, those are things that when I'm walking out, I'm kind of looking. Sometimes I might say, hey, can you go upstairs and flush your toilet? I'm curious whether there's water running in this wall before I propose taking it down, because it's going to be a lot more expensive to take down a wall with water in it that doesn't have water in it.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, or just go down the basement.
Flush toilets. I'm here to help.
Let me see what's going on. Let's see how easy it is to take this wall down.
The visual is amazing to me. How you can. I always think contractors and anyone in your field, like architect and whatnot, is the visual that you have the future vision. It's not that you have to design and change it. Do you work with builders?
I have a bunch of contractors that I can recommend easily, that have done numerous projects.
No, but I mean, is there any builders that contact you to design new layouts?
No.
Well, maybe I need to talk to Josh.
I'm just curious. That's such an avenue, for. I was just recently at a new construction meeting, and you can see the frustration with buyers because they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
They've been in a house that had this playroom, or they had this great room, or they liked the fireplace was a certain way. Then they come into this house and they don't see, like, how do I change it? And in a contractor builder's mind is not the same really as yours. Nothing wrong and bad. They have great ideas.
That's right.
It's just that you'll be listening to the future of the family,
right,
where they're looking at, like, you want more square footage, you want this. I feel like you grab the lifestyle personal touch versus, so I think that's helpful even when someone designing a home.
Absolutely. I think it's because most people who are designing a new home think architect. And I'm not an architect. However, a structural engineer can take any of my plans. So I could design you a house from the ground up, give my plans to a structural engineer, and he'll come back and do all the framing plans for you. And that's all that you need to go and get a building permit. But most people think that they have to pay the big bucks and go to an architect. But again, an architect doesn't necessarily have kitchen design experience. So even an architect, you're still going to pull in a kitchen designer, whereas I've kind of got the flow for all of it.
So if you're doing an addition or something.
Yeah.
So
or
people,
screen porches or sunrooms additions.
Yeah, I know. This is awesome.
It's endless.
So you do have a website.
I do. Yep. Fieldstonedesigns.com.
Okay.
Fieldstonedesigns.com.
We'll put that on the screen.
Yes, for you. And you're local, so you're in.
I'm in Leominster.
Yeah, Leominster, and you're also in Acton for your kitchen design.
For the showroom, yep. I have a showroom that I work out of in
So
Acton,
you work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
I love work. You know what, though? I truly do think that if you love your job, you're not working, and I love my job,
Yeah.
When I was a child, I used to draw floor plans. Like, I would be the 5-year-old who's trying to figure out how to relay out my bedroom, and I would design floor plans in my room. And then I would be designing my dream home someday and drawing floor plans and sketching. So it's always been part of my persona and dollhouse design and everything
That's
else. So I'm
amazing.
still doing it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So if you want a really elaborate dollhouse, you can also call.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Yes.
I do
Thank
appreciate
you.
this, and I think this is going to be very valuable to our listeners. And so, if you do want to find Deb, we're going to share that website,
Yep.
and then Lana and I, you can find at Coldwell Banker in Leominster. And we thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and let us know if there's any topics you would like us to cover.
Absolutely.
All
Deb,
right.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Awesome.
Yay.